Hello everyone, welcome back to another LEGO Simple review. Today's is going to be pretty awesome for me because I'm a big fan of this particular buildable figure. And this is, Darth Vader. Not the only Darth Vader in the line, they did another one back in 2015. This is the 2018 version, 75534, and it retailed for $40, which is a little steep, but I think this is on par with General Grievous and the Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike as one of the best buildable figures we have ever gotten. And it is just so impressive. It's got so much going for it. It does have a few issues, just a few in my experience with it. I'll get to those cons at the end of this review. So, this is Darth Vader, the second version. This is the updated version. So, it's got much more going for it. They put a lot more, I guess, design work into this. They made it more like how Vader is in the films. He's tall, he's imposing, he's got a lot of he's just a really cool looking character. And I think they pulled that off really well in this figure. So first off, he's a buildable figure. I think I'll go over the articulation first. He's pretty easy to pose. The reason why you can only see him from the upper half is because he's very tall. But let me go through the legs here really quickly. The articulation here, they are a bit limited, but they can go up pretty much like that. That's its limit. And then you can move the lower legs and the ankles, so that moves as well, and that is pretty good. Those are his legs articulation. It's pretty good for the most part. His arms can move, pretty much all the way around because they are on a ball joint, and so can his hands, or his hands and his upper arms can move as well. So that's pretty good. And there's no waist articulation because it's a custom build. And his head is on a ball joint, so that can move all the way around. So that's his articulation. It's pretty good. It's definitely more than Grievous can do. Grievous, his upper arms are definitely the better moving features of him. Like, he can move his arms a lot more than his legs. So Vader, he does have some limitations. His legs are definitely restricted, in movement, but I think that's fine because he's so tall. He's just gonna be standing anyway, so it works pretty much. So that's his articulation. His design is it's just so great. They put every cool design touch they could. From the original one, looks more like a football player with a tiny head and a weird cape, but this one looks so faithful to the original trilogy. It's crazy. The best thing about him is his helmet, but I actually want to point out all the printed pieces. So let me move him back so I can take a look at his printed parts. So you can kind of see. I'm going to show you where they all are. So we've got two here on his lower legs. We've got one piece here on his kind of belt section. Another piece for his crotch. There's a piece for his chest. That's the normal buildable figure chest piece. And then we have one printed piece here, one on here, and the two-piece helmet. That is actually two pieces. That is also printed as well. So you get 10 different printed pieces, which is awesome. And it's definitely the most printed pieces for a buildable figure that they've ever done. And he does have two capes as well. There's this cape, which is on the back, which is the largest, I believe, cape in the buildable figure line. And we also have a waist cape, which was missing on the original. That is something that the original did not have, and it looked a little weird because it wasn't there. But if you notice in the films, Vader does have a waist cape, which is kind of hard to see at some points. And another thing that I love about the capes is the way they're attached. So the top cape is actually attached by this chain, and it goes into a couple holes here, and it's built using these small pieces here. You might be able to see that. There you go. That's how that's made. And then it also attaches under his head. And then the waist cape is actually attached via these two T-pins on the sides of his belt. So that's how that's attached. And also on the back, if I lift up his cape, that's how there's also an attachment here. So that's how that works. And it looks really, really nice. The printing looks so excellent on this figure, in my opinion. It just looks so great. And the best thing about this updated version is the shoulder pads are actually able to move out now. So you can actually get him to do more dynamic poses with the lightsaber and stuff. And speaking of the lightsaber, that's one of his features. We'll move on to the action features of this character. The features are kind of simple, but I think that works. One of my complaints is this knob, but it actually allows for this feature. So if you take his lightsaber and you put it up, and if you twist the knob, it actually slashes the lightsaber arm back and forth, just like pretty much a lot of the buildable figures like Rey and Kylo and Finn and let's see, there's some other ones like Darth Maul as well that can do like the lightsaber, the swinging arm, which is really cool. And if I bring in Luke Skywalker here, you can see there, you can kind of have a fight a little bit. It's a little awkward because Luke doesn't have that feature, but it pretty much works. So that's the main feature. The lightsaber itself looks really, really nice. It's basically the buildable figure stock lightsaber, pieces with the blade in red. But this time they actually added onto it. They actually added another piece here to make it longer. I don't think that's accurate, but I appreciate that. And it's also painted metallic silver. So I think the only other way to get that is Darth Maul, I believe. I could definitely be... Oh no, Rey also has that as well, the updated Rey. So those are two other sets you can get the updated, the almost chrome lightsaber hilt pieces. So that's great. Something else I wanted to mention with the lightsaber before we move on, actually, is that if you wanted to, this does make the hands look a little awkward. But if you want to, you can actually, they give you basically an extra Technic pin, you can see here in red. And if you take that and put it into his other hand, you can actually combine his hands together. And that actually makes it so he can hold his lightsaber with two hands. It looks really cool, don't get me wrong, because Vader fights like this all the time in the films. But it definitely makes his articulation much more limited, actually much more restricted than it was with the two hands, separated. So you could do this. It definitely looks really great. But I'd say if you're going to pose Vader, I would do it with the one hand, unless you really like the two-handed look. Because, again, he really uses that style in the original trilogy. So it's up to you, but they give you that option, this extra pin. So if you want to use that, you can. And if you don't, well, just give him the one, just have him with the one lightsaber arm. That's his weapon. He doesn't come with any other accessories, which is fine. Most buildable figures only come with one. So that's great. But his best feature is his helmet. Look at this thing. It just looks magnificent. Just look at this. It looks like it came out of the movies. Like, it just looks so great. This is the best part of the figure. Hands down, bar none. The best part of this buildable figure is this helmet piece. This is actually different from the original Darth Vader buildable figure, where they actually changed it for this figure. And it's probably why it cost a little bit more, because they spent a lot more time with this updated piece. And it just looks great. I love all the details from, the printing, the shiny printing around the nose and these areas here. The glossy, reflective, shiny nature of this helmet makes it feel straight out of the films. And the back looks great. The sides look great. There's detail around the neck area. And the neck area looks fantastic. The eyes look great. It just looks so perfect. And what's even better is that it can come off. Yes, this helmet can actually be removed. So you can actually see Anakin's face. Ready? Pop! And now we get Skywalker's face reveal, which is so great. One of the best things about this figure when it was first revealed is that you could, in fact, take off the helmet. And now we can get to see the buildable figure, Anakin Skywalker, underneath there. And this figure is technically from Return of the Jedi, just because of this feature here. But it's actually just Vader from, all three films. So it doesn't really matter which film you make it from. It's just from the original trilogy in general. But I think they advertise it definitely more towards Return of the Jedi just because of this feature. And let me show you. The helmet is 2 pieces, so the way this attaches is really cool. It's got 2 holes on the upper part here and 2 holes over here. So right here and right here. So it attaches via those 4 holes and knobs, and that's how it attaches. And it just looks so great. I love the face, the detail that they put into this face. And they even have detail on the inside of the mouthpiece and even around the back. Like, what? And there's even bloodied scars on the back of his head that goes all the way around. That's molded on and printed. And the face looks great. It's got that, like, animated kind of look, that stylized look that buildable figures are mostly known for, their faces. But I think it really works in this case, because I think they pulled it off extremely well. It looks exactly like Sebastian Shaw from the end of Return of the Jedi. The shade of white for the head is awesome. It's got this great, kind of circular shape. The ears are pretty nice. It just looks fantastic. There's even detail under the mouthpiece, which looks so great. And there's a ball joint under there. You can see that. One of my complaints is, we'll get to this in the end part here. It looks a little bit like his head is floating in some poses. But other than that, this is worth having just for this feature. And it just looks so awesome. So I'm so happy that they went the extra detail and the extra mile just to include the removable helmet, which I think adds a lot of value to this figure in particular, in terms of this new version, because this one definitely has more perks of it. Like, it has more benefits to its design, whereas the original one was just kind of gimpy looking. Looks more like a robot, but this one looks more like a human inside of a robot kind of configuration, which is appropriate. So my only complaints are that my cons, I'll get them out of the way. Vader's head does look like it's floating a little bit in some poses. It depends on what poses you have it in, but it definitely looks like it's floating in some instances. I wish that the ball joint was a little bit lower, so it meshed more with the body. My biggest complaint with this set is definitely the knob at the back. I don't like that. It just makes it look really gimmicky, which I feel like it doesn't really need this feature. I feel like they didn't really need to put this knob in there. But I understand because it's part of the action feature with the lightsaber. I understand. But still, I would have gone without that and just have him with regular articulation. Those are my only complaints, other than the limited leg movements, which I understand because he is a tall character. So it pretty much works. So that's Darth Vader, the updated version. I think it looks fantastic. It looks marvelous. It's up there with General Grievous as one of the best buildable figures we've ever gotten, and it deserves a place in your collection if you're a fan of these buildable figures. I think this is one you need to get. It's a must-have. Definitely this updated version, because it does so much right. So I'll give my score 10 out of 10. It deserves it. It's a must-have buildable figure if you're a fan of these. So that's my review. I hope you liked it. Sorry if it was a little long, but I wanted to cover everything. More reviews are coming, so stay tuned for those. And I will see you then. Take care. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you later.